The Bible's exhortation that we be self-controlled is in sharp contrast to a culture that encourages us to constant self-indulgence. We're told that satisfying our desires will lead to freedom, fulfillment, and lasting satisfaction. But Proverbs 25:28 says, "A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls." A lack of self-control leaves us vulnerable and unable to protect what we hold most dear. Titus 2 commands older men to be self-controlled, older women to train younger women to be self-controlled, and then tells younger men to be self-controlled. Nobody's off the hook. Everybody's responsible. The clearest passage on self-control in the Bible is found in 1 Corinthians 9, verses 22 through 27. First, Paul says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. So all runners run, but only one wins, so run a winning race." Well, in an Olympic level race, winning or losing can come down to a tenth of a second. So the best runners pay attention to every small detail in their preparation and their performance. So spiritually, how closely do you guard your mind and your eyes and your heart? How willing are you to make little compromises here and dabble in sin over there? Because if you're running to win, every little detail and every little compromise matters. So be self-controlled. Pay close attention to your holiness. Second, Paul writes, "They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air." Our reward is far greater than a perishable prize like success or wealth or prestige. It's worth practicing self-control because we compete for an eternal reward. Paul adds that he neither runs nor boxes aimlessly. He has a purpose and he remembers that purpose. So don't fall into mindless religious obedience or just going through the motions. If you played sports growing up like I did, I'm sure you can remember running one more lap for what seemingly felt like no reason beyond just the whims of that coach. But maybe you also had the experience of being on a team with true aspirations, where every lap and every practice felt purposeful, a stepping stone on the way to something great. Well, that's who we are. We're God's chosen people. We're His beloved children. We were bought at a great price, and we are meant to be powerful witnesses to Him. We're on the road to something great, so be self-controlled because you're racing after what truly matters. And finally, Paul says, "But I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified." Paul's point is that if he spends his life pointing people to Jesus, but fails personally to live in faith and obedience, he may actually find himself disqualified in the only race that matters. This isn't works-based salvation. I mean, it's in the Bible. It's a sobering reminder to us of the consequences of drifting away, of lacking self-control, and of making small compromises over and over until we've left the track entirely. So be self-controlled. Don't be so concerned with everyone else that you forget to pay attention to your own holiness. You're not enslaved to your desires, your passions, your distractions, or your sinful impulses. You're actually responsible for them, and you can control them by God's Spirit. Self-control isn't something you create in yourself. It's actually a fruit of abiding in God. His Spirit gives you self-control. So being more self-controlled doesn't mean being uptight or white-knuckling through each day and hanging on for dear life. It actually means turning to God daily and letting His Word and His Spirit shape and mold you, your desires, your focus, and your strength so that you can run the race of faith as swiftly and faithfully as possible.